This is Gems in Western Jamaica. This is November 6, 2014, Thursday. I want to update on some of the WoodGas, what I'm up to here. Basically though, the fabrication technique which I'm using right now is sheet metal. I get in 3 foot length, 3 foot width. Usually I get 3 foot sheets, 3x3s. But what I have found is problems welding, brazing, the cost of torches, everything, and getting materials. So I kind of got stuck on the container for HHO and fabrication materials, and similar type of problems coming into the WoodGas and the fabrication materials and what is available to me in this location and this budget here in this time we call now. But I will be getting back to the HHO cell, and I was hoping to use a 1 quart size, but the interior diameter here to get the cell in is smaller than I thought with this ridge. So this is a little bit too small there. I wanted to get at least a 3-inch cell, and this is, I could get a 3-inch in there, but I may check it out to see what I could get in there. But this is a little bit too tight for the HHO. But what I've been doing, okay, I'll get back to this, what's over here. This is the generator. This is just the fabrication of a filter tank. Okay, so the next time I do it, accurately laying out diameters to cut and cutting accurately the first time using regular tin snips. Okay, this is basically all you need to cut this very accurately, and a pair of pliers to tie the binding wire. Okay, now in making these tubes, I took a 2-inch PVC, and I think I was using a 9-inch, okay, and wrapping it around, and tightening with wire. Now I have at different times drilled holes, okay, and made a little stitch and stitch them together. Okay, I'm also experimenting with just tying them, as you can see here. Some are stitched. I started stitching some of these. When you get into some of the heavier parts, like inside the generator tube, there's a lot more stitching that goes on. And I did stitch the other side here. Okay, I've used gasket cement. You can see gasket cement to patch up the little, that's the seam on the back, and there are stitches in there. The stitches I place parallel to the seam, not perpendicular, and you get the seam to lay flat. Getting the sheet metal to lay flat on the seam and get a natural seam is part of the secrets here. Getting the natural bend. So the sizes that you cut and getting the natural bend of the sheet metal against each other in an overlap. I'll go over more in detail what's inside on different video and measurements when I get to that point. But usually I'm dealing with an overlap of 1 inch to 2 inches. I think I used up to 2-inch overlap on this is a filter. Inside here there's a separator to create a little toroidal and thermal convection inside. So you would have the hot gas going in here. It would hit the separator, go down to the bottom and come up and go out that side. I have to rebuild this generator, but basically what the generator is are 2 tubes inside each other. You have air on the bottom, you use the thermal convection. So I don't really want to go over everything in there. This cap need, is a test here. But that's basically that's the inside tube. And this is the outside tube. And you're using a gas stove properties, wood gas. Let me show you something. The type of grate I use on the bottom there, I think might be useful. I just use a piece of chicken mesh in most cases. Oh. So I have a finer piece of mesh on the top and some chicken mesh, and it burns pretty naturally. I hardly have to kick it or anything. You can see the nice fine white ash that comes out of it. This white ash is I saved this and mix it with the, this mixed with the leaf now. That's no good now. But this is, you mix this with a little cement or lime and you get this So that's the collar or the cap that I've been using. And this is basically I have 6 holes on the bottom now, which is at a minimum. You really want more, but you want to be able to cut it down, so I haven't added the extra ones yet because I want to experiment with this low level here. And this is your reactor. I have 2 sets of holes in there. 12 holes in each row, and my mesh line is 4 inches up from the bottom where I put that. So the mesh sits down on there, the air holes are right above there. There's an air hole at 4 inches and then at 5 inches, the 2 rows of 12 or 13 holes. And That's where I'm at there with those fabrication techniques. I had started to do some stitching on these tubes, but you're not able to get far in there, you know, or it's more difficult to reach in and get a stitch in place. So I experimented with the wrap, getting the inside joint. After you cut it, you want to file the edge of that joint to make sure it sits smoothly inside. And I've had pretty good success with just touching up the little I didn't even have to use any gasket cement in there in this. You know, it's not the most high pressure, but if you're doing more high pressure, you'd want to seal it better. So anyways, this is the first cut. You can see the way when you do these, just getting the accurate measurements of the diameters and where you stop your cuts and get a proper round saves a lot of work when it comes to fitting up the pieces. Anyways, this is Gems in, updating on sheet metal techniques without pop rivet, without brazing, without welding, from Western Jamaica.